Thomas Jefferson kind of visioned America as being a country best in a small agrarian state and religiously based. And the middle part of America and the small towns is still largely like this, where life still revolves around farming, and you notice a lot of folks have really strong ties to Christianity. And regardless of your take on religion, the end result for us is that we had a lot of support going through these towns. A lot of these towns gave us some hot meals, they gave us cash donations and places to stay. They were all very supportive. There's just a good vibe in small town America. We rode along the banks of the Missouri River on the Katy Trail, following the old Lewis and Clark trail that they took over 200 years before us. It was really interesting to see how people really held on to their history in some of these towns in Missouri and Illinois.
And that was the last known place that Jesse James's brother was held.
A lot of folks held on to their historical ties, and a lot of them knew how history was relevant to the way things operated today. Here's Dean and Wendy, who we met in the town of Boonville, Missouri.
We have Jesse James, who came in with his folks, and they massacred a bunch of Union soldiers there in my small little town in Centralia, Missouri. And up to this day, even, I mean, now we've got the whole Mizzou, University of Kansas rivalry, and that all stems from way back in the day, back in that Civil War day.
With Wendy serving overseas, I asked her, what are some positive things about America and Iraq? What are some good and bad lifestyle differences?
Much stronger work ethic in the United States.
Yeah,
They tend to be,
I was like, okay, there's a zip.
their religious convictions are really, a lot of them are more hardcore, I guess. I don't know if that's good or bad. Family tends to be, they live closer together, so families aren't spread all over the place.
Right.
Like they are here in America.
Sure.
So the families tend to be a lot closer.
And that helps out, would you say?
I think so. I think that's a good thing. But the Air Force, they actually put bottles or emptied water bottles. So they had we had these plastic water bottles, a liter, and they put glow sticks inside the water bottles. Emptied the water out, put the glow sticks in. You know, and so they were like green, orange, purple, or blue, you know, all these different colors.
Yeah.
And they sat behind the blast walls. They were throwing them over the blast walls like fireworks. That was our fireworks.
No way. That story.
It was awesome, you know. And they actually even had a finale, and I mean, you should have seen them throwing them down over the blast walls. It was hilarious. And they were like all over the volleyball court, and they were glowing, and it was hilarious.
So, the United States, when you travel, I mean, we are really different people. It's different cultures, different personalities.
But we're all
kind of
Americans.
neat. So we all still come back to the same
like.
core, but it is neat. That's what I think is cool about what you're doing and getting to experience.
We rode along the Katy Trail in Missouri. The trail is off the road and is an old rail line, and it goes across nearly the whole entire state. Along the trail we met Team Jesse. They were riding across the United States for the families of the fallen.
Our son Kevin Mincio and his friend Matt Story are doing a bike ride across the United States. They started in Santa Rosa, California. They're going to Ground Zero in New York City for the 10th anniversary of 9/11. It is a foundation that was started in response to Kevin's experience in Iraq. He's an Iraq vet. He was in the Army. He joined the Army at the age of 31. He was down right across the street from where the towers went down, and he felt there had to be something done. You know, he just didn't feel like, you know, working on Wall Street was doing anything to really respond to what happened. He decided to go into the infantry, went in as a private, eventually became a sergeant. Met up with Jesse Williams, who was a young man from Santa Rosa, California, and they became fast friends. I think Jesse kind of looked up to Kev because he was a good 10 years older than he was. And, you know, he just, I guess Kevin and him just bonded very quickly.
Sure.
Kevin when they came back from Iraq, Kevin was ready to be discharged. Jesse re-upped, went back to Iraq for a second tour, and unfortunately on Easter Sunday of 2007 was killed by sniper fire. The foundation now is in support of all families of the fallen. It's a nonprofit. The entire ride is being supported by sponsorship. Any money given to Team Jesse will go directly to the families of the fallen. www.teamjesse.org.
We drove with Matt and Kevin for a while, and as Amy swapped bikes with Kevin and Kevin took the Bob trailer bike, Matt and I rode along talking about corporations and how do we get individual identity in a world where corporations are a big part of our culture. It was great to see that Matt, who has had so much business success, being out here on this bike ride, trying to redefine himself and get back to his roots.
So go for it.
Okay, so my name is Matt Sauri, that's spelled S-A-U-R-I, and I'm founder of a company called Wimmer Solutions Corporation. It's W-I-M-M-E-R, named it after my grandfather, Llewellyn Wimmer. It's my second company that I've started. Started it 9 years ago, and it's a consulting services company, and this would be our 7th year in a row, named in the Puget Sound Business Journal, which records all of Washington State's fastest growing company list. So it's 7 years in a row doing that. It's been fun. You got a mosquito about to bite you on your eye over there. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's one thing I'm really proud of. Another one is that we got Washington's Best Workplaces Award for the 2nd year in a row. And I guess what I was just talking with you about was the fact that this trip is really making me think about what's important to me, and does that define who I am, or am I really letting myself be defined by what it is that I've chosen to do, and to reinvent myself and show that it's not really necessary for me to be involved in this way, and to draw my identity from Wimmer Solutions Corporation or corporate success, but more some of the philanthropic things and some of the other ways that I've been able to be involved with things.
Awesome.
It's a journey I'm really having fun doing, and thanks for spurring that thought in me.
Awesome.
Getting killed by mosquitoes.
Yeah, let's go. Keep moving here.
Yeah.
We went through the small town of St. Charles, Missouri, which is a nice, small, quaint town with cobblestone streets and brick-faced buildings just to the north of St. Louis. Then we crossed the mighty Mississippi, and in Illinois we were in King Corn Country. And we stayed with the Graven family farm in central Illinois, one of the last family farms in the area.
I've lived on this particular farm for 63 years. They've rezoned everything now, and they tell you what you can have as far as livestock. And you got to have so many acres to have any kind of livestock. I mean, it's 5 acres plus to have any animals at all.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, they have made me real mad. I got a piece of ground down the road, a 25-acre piece of ground that it was always farm ground and always will be.
Mm-hmm.
And they was telling me that I couldn't have livestock on it. Because I had a neighbor. He had a daughter that wanted a 4-H project. He wanted a horse. And there was a couple next door neighbors to him that didn't want any animals around at all. So they fought the idea that he was getting a horse for his daughter. So they caused a whole big lot of trouble for the zoning, and they actually rezoned a lot of the county. And they rezoned some of my ground to where, since I was here prior to the lake, I can still have livestock. But the neighbors were telling me I couldn't. It made me mad that the neighbor couldn't have a horse for his daughter. So I had a friend make me a sign, a big 4x8 sign that said, "The future home of Gary and Georgia Graven's hog farm." And I planted it in front of that 25 acres. Oh my goodness, did I stir up the whole county. Everybody was a little upset over me, and I got calls from the neighbors. I got calls from the county zoning office telling me I couldn't do that. I got letters from the state's attorney, and he wasn't sure if I could do that or not, but they was going to have to take that problem to the Illinois State Supreme Court and get a ruling on it. And finally in the fall, I got this letter back from the state's attorney, and it says, well, we got a ruling back from the Supreme Court and you can have your livestock operation now. I opened up a big can of worms I shouldn't have. Well, I guess I'm sort of the thorn in their back yet, but I like it. They like this to be suburbs, and it's not suburbs, this is country, this is farm ground.
Since Gary started working the farm, a huge reservoir has been built nearby, completely altering the ecosystem of the area and affecting the crops.
Whenever they flooded all those thousands of acres, well, you know, all of Mother Nature's little animals, deers, coons, coyotes, that had their homes along the river got flooded out. So they had to find new homes, and the only place was up here on the high ground.
Gary told us how the small farm is on the verge of extinction.
Yeah, there's fewer small family farms every year. Wow. The small farms it's going to be extinct one of these days. The price of our grain went up last year.
Yeah.
Well, so then the fertilizer and the chemicals also went up. And the fuel is a lot higher this year than what it was last year. What extra margin we was making is getting ate up again. So you got to have a lot of acres, you know, to live on, or diversify somehow. Like I raise cattle, and my wife and I were rural substitute mail carriers. Besides, they're raising the same stuff that I am. You know, we're getting our seed from the same place. Fertilizer and chemicals the same. So as far as quality of the food, shouldn't change that I can see. Some of the meat bothers me a little bit, the way it's growing. I don't like all the confinement animals that they have and the way they're treated. I guess I'm still some of the old kind. I really do think some of these, like these big confinement hog buildings, I don't think the quality of the meat is like it used to be whenever we used to raise them in the smaller lots. And even the chickens, for that matter. Yeah. There's growth stimulants you can use to implant in the animal to make them grow faster and all, and I don't do that. You know, it's all due to trying to make a profit from farming. You grow them as best you can, as fast as you can, to have as little to feed in them, I guess, as you can to make a profit. And it's been real rough on the cattle industry part of it. We're doing pretty good right now. We're making some money, but there has been a few years that the people the offspring, I guess, of the family farm, a lot of them, they don't want to continue on the farm. They've got a better paying job, an easier life. So they'll either rent it out, and usually to someone that'll pay them, well, as much money as they can get, of course.
Sure.
The highest bidder, and usually that's a big farmer. Bigger the farmer, you know, usually the more they're going to give you. But on the same thought, usually that big farmer won't take care of your farm either, as far as putting back the fertilizer that crop you just harvested took out of the field. You know, they do whatever they can as cheap as they can, and so they'll short it. We've got some big farmers around here now, and I mean big. They farm 30, 40,000 acres.
Wow.
And the only thing they grow is corn, continuous corn, year after year. They'll put a little nitrogen on there because that's what it takes to grow the bushels. But as far as the other nutrients, they don't hardly ever put anything back. They got so much to farm that no matter what the weather condition, the ground condition is, if they can get across the field in the spring and plant that crop, they're out there doing it. They don't wait till the ground gets dry enough to really work good.
Wow.
But you know, they're farming across the state of Illinois. There's been a couple farms around here this year that sold for $9,000 and $10,000 an acre. And so anybody, you know, that's thinking about retiring, that, you know, needs a retirement, like an older guy that's going to retire from farming, he either rents his ground out or he sees this big income that he can have a nice retirement by selling the farm. It's always a big investor. We're getting a lot of non-farmers buying ground. It's got money, you know, bankers, doctors, a lot of investors that's buying ground because they think they can get a better return on their money than than invest it in stocks, and especially interest. Not very little money you're going to get back from interest right now.
Sure.
So there's a lot of people buying ground like that they just buy it for an investment. It's not something that they're going to live on and rely on making a living on. Somebody else is going to do that for them, but they're just wanting money out of it, you know. So, you know, the little guy, like I said, he's either going to rent it to a bigger farmer to farm, or he's going to sell it to some big investor that's not going to take care of it. Probably come in and bulldoze all the buildings down and make more acres to farm, you know. There's going to be a time when I'm going to have to sell at least part of it if I have a retirement. You can't live on Social Security. So, yeah, there's going to be at least, well, I hope I can keep this here as a place to live, because I don't ever want to live in town. I don't have any kids that want to continue farming. They have no interest in farming at all.
Sure.
So I don't have any real purpose to try to preserve the place. I would like to, you know, put a lot of time, a lot of money in this place. Hate to see it bulldozed down. Yeah. My folks bought this place when they were young.
So you grew up?
I grew up right here. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's a long history.
I never got very far away from home in life, you know. I'm still here. You gonna feed them already?
I'm just going to feed the goats since the kids don't get fed until 9.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got to clean out one of the feeders.
Okay. Hi, Chloe.